I made all of these props from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time so I can become Link in real life. It all started when I found a Nintendo 64 at a garage sale which had the Legend of Zelda game. That'd be perfect for my new gaming channel. But to be Link in real life, I went over to Amazon and searched for a Link costume, and I found one for only 25 bucks. It came in a couple days later, so I went to go open it up and try it on. And oh boy was I excited. This costume would be perfect for the skit I want to make on my new skits channel. Everything's fitting perfectly and everything's going right, but I'm missing some things, and pants.
Don't record this. Now to make Navi his fairy, I bought this Wonder Sphere at Walmart for like 15 bucks. It looks super fun and super cool, but the one problem with it is the LED light that's inside of there, it changes colors, like not the colors Navi is. So to fix that, I also bought some reflective tape. That's like this white reflective tape that I think I'm gonna cut off the LED lights in there and put that on there. That way when it goes around, it picks up any light that's around there and just makes it like glowing white. I hope that works. It may not, and I may just be kind of stupid. For his wings, I'm actually just gonna use the plastic that it came in and just kind of cut it to the shape of his wings. That way it's very lightweight, see-through. I can always sand it to make it a little bit more like dull. It's all charged up. I want to test it out really quick just to show you guys what it does and why I want it to like, it's supposed to hover and fly and it's gonna be pretty cool. Woo! Oh. I think I need to charge it a little bit more. I don't think it charged all the way. So as you can see, it does float and hover and you can throw it and pretty cool. So the screws in these things are extremely tiny and I don't have access to the world's smallest screwdriver. I don't have anything that can unscrew this.
My detector test determined that was a lie.
I actually ended up finding a screwdriver that kind of worked, so I was able to take it apart. I am really hoping that I don't lose any of the screws and I'm able to put it actually back together because that would really suck. But I got it open. Now I'm going to try to put this reflective strip on to that little LED thing.
Oh, you stink!
So unfortunately, because how this thing is made, I won't be able to have reflective tape on the propellers itself, which makes sense. I put it around kind of the middle just to add some sort of a white kind of glow effect, but I think my dreams of having it glow may not be possible. Need to give it wings, so I made like this little stencil. It'll be right here, and then of course I have the bottom ones, but I'm gonna be using like some of the plastic that came from the container for this thing actually, using my resources. All right, so Navi, the fairy, is complete. I think the wings look incredible. I am disappointed that it won't be able to glow, but that's fine. I might be able to figure something out later. So now we're gonna test it out, see if he can fly. Look at that. I'm gonna try to throw it to myself. The one problem is that very fragile, so I'm gonna have to fix that wing. I gotta be careful of where it lands because these wings will probably fall off, but it does work, which is incredible. So now it's on to the next prop. All right, so the next prop that I want to make are the spiritual stones. There are 3 spiritual stones. So there's the Kokiri Emerald, there's the Goron Ruby, Zora Sapphire. There's like 3, I'll look it up later, I'll put it on the screen. There are 3 different types of spiritual stones that you have to actually collect in order to get the Master Sword. And I need to make 3 of those. So I went and got some resin. I want to make them with resin. I'm actually kind of excited for this. I've never used resin before. With these 3 silicone molds, I'm really hoping that I'll be able to finish it. I know it takes about a day for it to set. I only need 1 of the green ones, 1 of the emeralds. I need 2 of these ones, and then I need 3 of these ones. Let's start pouring some resin. Hopefully this will be all hardened by about 1 to 2 days from now. So I'll check back with you guys when those are all done. All right, so a little bit of time has passed and they are all completely hardened. I don't need to make another green one. This one's completely done. I need to make 2 more blue ones and just 1 more red one. All right, so for the next step to finish off these spiritual stones, we have to make those gold things that hold it. And the other like pyramid is done drying and I attached them together. It looks super cool. And I have 2 out of the 3 Zora sapphires. They're already complete. But in the meantime, I can get both of these finished. I'm gonna be using this big tub of FOMO. That's gonna be the gold that holds the crystals together. After that's all dry, I'm gonna be adding these gold little leaf flake things on there. Hopefully make it look actually like gold. All right, so it's the very next day and the foam has completely dried on both of them. So now I'm gonna add these gold leaf flakes to it to make it look gold. Also, I just got done making the 3rd sapphire. So now I can make the gold for these. All right, so for Zora's Sapphire, I cut up 4 pieces of EVA foam. I'm gonna stack them together, adhere them with contact cement. Then I print out a picture of the spiritual stone, just the gold part of it. So I'm gonna trace this onto the foam, then I'm gonna use a Dremel tool to shape it up. All right, so I just finished putting the gold foil onto the foam and then put the crystals inside of them. It looks a little messy, but I just have to cut it out and then we'll be good. All right, so the next prop is something I am extremely excited for, and that would be the Hylian shield. So I went to Google, found an image of the Hylian shield, then I went to Microsoft Excel, blew it up on there, then printed it across multiple sheets of paper, and then just glued them together. It's a pretty easy way to make a template, and for the material to actually make the Hylian shield, I'll be using this floor mat, and it is 3/4 inch thick, so it is pretty thick, so I think I'm just gonna do 1 layer of it.
Boo, you stink!
All right, so I just finished sanding around the edges, and the next part is to make it a little bit more rounder, not so flat. So I'm gonna take this heat gun, kind of heat it up a little bit, and then keep it in place with some duct tape for just a little bit. Now while we wait for the shield to like cool off a little bit, I'm gonna cut out like the outer part of the shield and like the decals, and then I'm gonna put that onto some EVA foam, and then we'll contact cement it on there. All right, so I have everything all sanded down, glued on there, everything's good. Before I put some spray paint on there, I'm gonna be applying a layer of Mod Podge just to seal it all together. I almost forgot like the little screws or divots that are around the edge of it, these things right here. So to do that really quick before I spray paint, I had a bunch of these brad pins laying around and it's like the perfect size, so I'm just gonna puncture it in there. All right, so now that the shield is completely covered in blue, I'm gonna be taking some metallic gray paint and paint the outer rim and the little, whatever these things are in the middle. Let's get to it. All right, so I have this thing pretty much all done, painted. I might go back and do a little bit more detailing, but for that bird emblem that it has, I'm gonna be using my Cricut, which I haven't used in like a year. So I have it all loaded up, and I found an image of the bird emblem that I'm gonna be using for this. All right, so I was hoping for some ASMR sticker peeling, but that was a pain to get on. I'm never gonna do that again. But I think it looks pretty good, but with the sticker pulling, it took off some of the paint, so I had to repaint that. What I think I'm gonna do is take like a sponge and dab on some black paint just to make it look all withered and worn out. All right, so I just got done withering the shield. Looks really good. I love how this turned out. I think the withering was definitely a good touch on that. So the next step is for the back, just to do some backing. I need the handles and the little rim around it. But I went ahead and cut out some EVA foam into that shape of like kind of what's on the front, and I'm just gonna cement glue this onto the back. All right, so for the back we need a handle and a strap. As you can see here, it doesn't have that yet, obviously. So I looked around the house before I went to any stores just to see if I had anything, and I had some belt material left over, which is perfect for that strap. And then I don't even know what this is. I found it in my garage, and it's perfect for a handle, so I'm gonna just glue that on there, glue this on there, and then we have the completed shield. All right, this thing is completely done. I think it looks amazing. I love how it turned out with the withering. It has some shine to it. I did spray it just to make sure it sealed all the paint in, and it added a gloss finish. And of course the back, you got the leather strap here, and then the handle, which works perfectly. You just put your hand through, you got yourself the shield. So the next step is to get that master sword complete. All right, so just like I did for the Hylian shield, I went on Google and found an image, put that into Microsoft Excel. Then I made myself a template of the master sword. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those foam mats, just like I did for the shield, put two of them together and make that the sword. And I actually stuck a wooden dowel inside of it. That way it's much more sturdy because it was very flimsy, and I can even build the handle, just kind of build up on the dowel. I just had it laying around from a previous project, so it was perfect. Now I'm going to take some Foamo, some of that foam clay, and fill in like the cracks and crevices and any holes that I accidentally made while making the sword. That way just to smooth it out a little bit. All right, so as you can see, there's like a completely different setup. So from the time that this is drying, which is not very long, I already got a new desk and set some stuff up, so yay. But now that the Foamo is completely set and dried, I'm gonna sand it down, and then I'm gonna apply a layer of kind of like a Mod Podge, a couple layers of it. That way the paint actually stays on there and it looks not like it's on foam, you know what I mean? All right, so about right here on the sword in the game, it has the trifecta, what's it called? Triforce, three triangle thing. I don't know what it's called, I forgot. But so what I'm gonna do is take an X-Acto blade, I'm gonna score it into the foam, and then take my heat gun and then open up the hole. That way it just looks like it's engraved in there. All right, so I ran over to Home Depot really quick and got Plasti Dip because I looked online to see what I should seal the foam with before I spray paint. And a lot of people said Plasti Dip because it's like flexible and it's like a rubber coating on top. While the blade is drying, I'm gonna work on the handle. And for the handle part, I'm gonna be using this PVC pipe I had left over. It's actually like perfect size, so why not? And for the wings, as you can see here, I'm just gonna stack two pieces of EVA foam together and carve it out in just one single piece. All right, I just finished sculpting it. I think this turned out pretty good. I'm impressed for the first time kind of like sculpting something so intricate. I think it looks pretty good. So now I kind of marked where the lines are that I need to score. So I'm gonna take my X-Acto blade, score those lines, and then put the heat gun on it just to open them up a little bit. And then we can try to put it on the sword. All right, I just got done scoring and heating it up, and this thing looks actually amazing with the scoring done. I'm glad I did that. It really adds detail to it. So now I'm gonna take this outside and spray a couple layers of the Plasti Dip on there. I'm gonna let it dry overnight and see if it is ready to spray paint, and then if it is, I'll see you guys when I'm spray painting. All right, so now that the detailed part of the handle is completely dry, I'm gonna take some yellow paint and paint that little like diamond crystal star thingy right in the middle because it's yellow. And I actually went and spray painted that PVC pipe that I'm gonna be using for the handle part. So that's drying right now, and then we'll just glue it on later. I have these leftover pieces of styrofoam that I use for like my dog day project, and I'm gonna put these two together. This will act as the stone block that the sword is in. So when I pull it out, it's gonna pull it out of this, and I'm gonna have to make it like look concrete-y or whatever, but I'm gonna put these two together. Now it's dry, so I'm gonna take some saws, whatever I can, to kind of cut the shape of that concrete slab. All right, so I got it completely cut out. It's a little bit rough, so I'm gonna sand it down a little bit and use my Dremel tool just to shape it up, make it a little bit more uniform. And then I'm gonna take some of that foam clay, put it over it, and then add a little texture to it to make it look like concrete. All right, this thing is completely dry. I think it looks incredible. I like how the concrete it looks like concrete. I went back and cut a hole in the top that can fit the sword in there, but you guys know the drill. Because it's dry, it's time to spray paint, but first I'm gonna Plasti Dip it, and then I'll give it a nice like grayish concrete kind of look.
In a last second decision, I decided to make the Deku shield, and it turned out amazing. I started out by printing out a picture of the shield, traced it onto a piece of foam, then cut out the bark section of the shield and traced that onto another piece of foam. After it's all traced, I cut it out with my X-Acto blade and applied some contact cement on both pieces of foam, then let it sit for about 15 minutes. Now it's time to put it on. This really makes it look like it was ripped straight out from a tree. Now you take the Dremel, just smoothen up those edges and use the edge of it to make a bark and tree texture, which turned out really good. I traced the shape of the Deku kind of logo that it has, if you want to call it that. I'm taking my X-Acto blade and cutting it out. Now I'm using some peach or like tan colored paint, and this really helped make the inside of a tree effect. For the bark, I used a bunch of different shades of brown and even some black to make it look rough and like bark. For the inside of the Deku logo, it's more of like a cherry, maroon, red kind of color, so I had some of that paint lying around, and it was absolutely the perfect color for it. Here's how the paint job turned out, and it looks amazing. It's like uncanny to a tree, if you ask me. Now we're gonna flip it around, and I bought a door handle for like $2 and just contact cement that on there. Had some leftover belt and just put that for the strap, just like my other shield. I gave all of my props a spray of like a protective coating that adds a really nice gloss and shiny finish to it.
I just made all of these props from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, so that way I can recreate it in real life on my new Skits channel. Make sure to subscribe to that. I am also planning on doing a gameplay of the game on the Nintendo 64 that I got, so make sure to subscribe to my gaming channel to watch that. Comment down below what props you want me to make next, and make sure to subscribe to both of my new channels. Peace.